Today we're going to be in Genesis chapter 12. And this is our first encounter with Abram, who would become Abraham. Now Abram was the son of an idol worshiper. He was certainly not a seeker of God. But the beauty of the passage in Genesis chapter 12 is, although Abram may not have been seeking God, God was seeking Abraham. As a matter of fact, it says in Genesis 12:1, now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land which I will show you, and I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, so that you'll be a blessing. You know, every one of these conditions going on here were really things that God was going to do for and through Abram. This story is so encouraging to me that it helps me to understand that Abram literally was living in the middle of nowhere doing his own thing, but God found him. You probably tell a similar story. I can tell you that I was doing my own thing. I was serving myself. I was living in my sin, and God in His grace and mercy, even though I was separate from Him, dead in my trespasses and sins, God found me and through faith made me alive in Him. It is by grace that I was saved through faith, that not of myself. It was a gift of God. You know, throughout the Scriptures you see similar things. Moses was shepherding the flock, and Moses was watching after his sheep, but God was seeking His own sheep, and He called Moses out from in the midst of a burning bush. Samuel was asleep, and God called up Samuel, wake up, and He called Samuel out. And throughout the Scriptures, the story is the same. Whether you look at Isaiah, whether you move into the New Testament, and you see with Peter and with Andrew, regardless of the story that you find, you always see that God is always seeking the lost and saving the lost. Paul was on the Damascus Road, and he was headed there in order to kill believers, but God intervened in order to save Saul, who would become Paul. Let it be your creed today to understand that God saves sinners. God doesn't save the righteous. The righteous don't think they need a Savior. Those who think they have it all together, those who think they see, they are rarely recipients of the divine grace of God. It's those that know they're in their sin, those that know they need their Savior. Pray today that God would give you an awareness and an alertness of the lost around you, that perhaps God, through you, by His Spirit, would use His gospel to open the eyes of a future Abram, or a future Saul, or a future Peter, those that would proclaim His name, those that would make His name great among the nations, and those that would follow Him with all of their heart, mind, strength, and soul.